Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today we are continuing our ongoing coverage of the civil war taking place inside the former state of Ethiopia and the Eritrean invasion of the northern Tigray region. Well, the status quo continues. The Tigrayan Defense Forces are still mobilized as we speak, 150 to 200,000 fully mobilized Tigrayan Defense Forces, still control towns such as Adigrat. They control the capital, Mekelle. They have continued defensive lines set up near Maichu. And most importantly, they are in full control of the Tenbian region and the Adwa to Mekelle road. This area here, called Tenbian. In Adwa, the Tigrayan Defense Forces continue to have the Eritrean army enveloped and, for the most part, surrounded near Adwa. So again, the status quo in terms of what is happening on the ground in the Tigray region continues. Now, we've heard a lot about this peace agreement. Some would call it a peace agreement. Some would call it an extermination agreement. And yes, if the Tigrayan Defense Forces demobilize, there will be nothing stopping Isaias Afwerki and Abiy Ahmed from completely clearing all opposition out of the Tigray region. So very obviously, very disconcerting for many folks in the Tigray region. I fully understand the apprehension about this peace agreement. And if we look at other agreements in the past that have taken place inside the former state of Ethiopia, if we look at what has been done in Oromia and is being done in Oromia, that is what certain peace agreements look like. So again, as we continue to watch this, I would say that the Tigray region, the TPLF, the TDF, all concerned stakeholders should be very, very aware of what happens if its one key ability to negotiate, and that's through military force, is removed from the Tigray region. It would become very, very likely that Abiy loyalist forces would then conduct at a later date, probably not immediately, because again, there are eyes on the situation, but a year from now, 6 months from now, a lot of things could happen in the Tigray region in which the world would not be watching. And that should be concerning. Because if we look at what's happening in the south, in Oromia, it is utter chaos. Civil war within a civil war. In recent days, the Oromo Liberation Army has been incredibly successful. They now control an area running from Mindi all the way down, going through, they just took control of Nejo. They now control, or have, from my understanding, Gembi surrounded. There's still regime security forces in Gembi. The OLA has entered this area here, Dangoro. And most importantly, the Oromo Liberation Army has entered Nakimte. So again, 200 kilometers of road spanning multiple highways running the A4, the B42, and then eventually up towards this area near Dangoro, the B40. So massive area right now under the control of the Oromo Liberation Army, and a lot of that has to do with the redeployment of Abiy loyalist forces towards the southeast Tigray region. Now, what happens if the situation in the Tigray region is resolved, and then Abiy Ahmed, and then quite possibly Eritrean forces as well, given the relationship that is ongoing, could turn its sights towards Western Oromia and other areas as well. But right now, the Oromo Liberation Army controls vast areas of Western Oromia. We continue to see drone strikes and airstrikes by Abiy loyalist forces against targets all along these roadways. We have seen towns and cities, after they come under the control of the Oromo Liberation Army, only to be bombed by the Abiy loyalist Air Force. So very, very messy situation as we continue to monitor and report on the ongoings inside the former state of Ethiopia. And again, I think a lot of persons who live or have lived in the former state of Ethiopia, in all probability, are having immense buyer's remorse in terms of the rise of Abiy Ahmed to power back in 2018. I imagine the TPLF, the TDF, may have done things a bit differently prior to 2018. And that's why it's important to understand and make proper decisions in the present. Remember what happened post-2018 with the rise of Abiy Ahmed. And again, if the Tigrayan Defense Forces are disarmed within the confines of this alleged treaty, it should be very, very concerning for those stakeholders in the Tigray region, given what has happened in the past. But right now, as we speak, the Eritrean army is still in northern Tigray. It is having a very difficult situation staying in northern Tigray. The Abiy loyalist forces are in the southeast. They control Alamata up towards Korem, but have not progressed past the Tigrayan Defense Forces area of control near Maichu. So the present situation for the Tigrayan Defense Forces, for the Tigray region, is not as precarious as it was at the end of 2020. If we go back to the early part of 2021, most of the entire Tigray region was militarily occupied by Abiy loyalist forces, that to include Mekelle. Then we all know in June, July of 2021, Operation Alula kicked off, which evicted the Abiy loyalist forces. But right now, the situation is nowhere near as bad as it was for the Tigrayan Defense Forces, for the Tigray region, as it was in 2021. I also believe that the Abiy loyalist forces and the Eritrean army are probably not in very good shape at this point. If they had the capability, to continue the occupation of the Tigray region, they would have done it back in 2021. If they had the capability to move down the A2 highway and seize control of Mekelle and then move into the Tenbian region, they would actively be trying to do so. But they can't do it. Because as worn out as some elements of the Tigrayan Defense Forces may be through multiple years of war of conflict, the Abiy loyalist forces are just as worn out as well. So this is where we set for now. We'll continue to monitor and watch the situation very closely. Again, what occurred in South Africa is simply that, a piece of paper. Nothing has been implemented yet. The Tigrayan Defense Forces are still in the field. The Eritrean Army is still in northern Tigray. And the Abiy loyalist forces are still in southeastern Tigray and western Tigray as well. Now, the difference right now that we're seeing is with the increase in activity and success of the Oromo Liberation Army. So this is going to be very interesting to see what happens in Western Oromia as the OLA continues to advance, continues to take towns and cities, continues to take over regime security bases, obtain weapons, equipment, and expand its forces. So could we reach a point where the OLA is able to threaten larger cities, which would then mandate a withdrawal of Abiy loyalist forces from near the Tigray region and redeploy those forces, possibly allowing the Tigrayan Defense Forces to initiate another push? Difficult to say at this point. But that's where we stand right now. We will continue to watch, report, and bring you more information as it happens. Thanks for joining us today. Have a good day.